Hannah.
And we are not doing the full episode in ASMR, so don't worry about that if you have mesophobia, but we thought it would be cool to switch it up.
Is that what it's called?
Mesophobia or
Miso.
I think so.
That reminds me of miso soup. I love miso soup, but I don't like ASMR, so what does that make me?
Misophoniac. Okay, today is July 29th, 2021, and it is the last day of motherfucking masks, or the second last day of masks.
Yes, in New Brunswick. We're going to ease into our talking voices here so as not to blast your eardrums.
I definitely woke a few of you up there.
Yeah, we're in sort of a weird mood, obviously, today, and that's why we started out with the ASMR. But overall, we are stoked because, a year and a half later, we're going to be allowed out in public without
wearing masks, but
well, there's also other stipulations. Like, we're going into green. It's not just about the masks. It's basically it's a symbolism of life going back to normal. Let me just first of all.
I guess so. Like, I guess what else is changing? Like, we can go.
It's just everything
full
now.
capacity.
It's like normal. Yeah, normal life. I guess we
Yeah.
can pretend nothing ever happened for now, unless the Delta variant comes for us. But
yeah, it's been a long time coming. Like, this day has been like waited upon by many.
It's gonna be weird to live in a world without Corona and have a podcast, because that is like, I don't know, there's some sort of like significant crossover for us, I feel, in the next coming
Because
hours.
like life is going to go back to normal.
Like, I feel like the Eureka effect and like this side of, or like the startup of it has been like its own little secret world. Does that make any sense? And now we're like opening up to like a regular timeline. And, like, we were, like, this sick side story that was going on, and now, I don't know.
Oh, you mean, like, symbolically? Like, we're kind of, like, turning a new leaf, starting a new chapter?
Yeah, there's something about it for me that feels, like, around the podcast. I don't know, different. Not different in a bad way either. Just, like, I don't know. Everything seems significant right now, though, because I feel like nothing is. So.
Yeah, I think things are, like, there is a new chapter, like, awaiting, and we're kind of at, like, we're finishing up this chapter, so it's kind of like you can feel the new sort of energy emerging, like there's going to be a shift, and we're kind of like waiting for it, eagerly waiting. I mean, I think I'm done with the whole, I don't know, I was really grasping on to there was a part of me that didn't want life to go back to normal, like weirdly enough, because we were fucking loving being off and being I don't know, everything that COVID, I'm very thankful that everything happened, because personally, for both of us, it was nothing but a benefit. Like, there was we
were in a very privileged position throughout the entirety of the situation. Like, I know that it maybe changed a lot of people's, well, I think it changed everyone's lives, but we really benefited wholly, thankfully, from the situation. Like, I have no complaints as far as the way things have gone down. Sorry.
Yeah, we needed everything to happen the way that it did, because although I was already on the brink of my spiritual awakening, and like it was like the beginning stages, even in 2019 a bit, like there was some realizations happening, and it was kind of like I was on level 1 of a spiritual awakening, and then it really catapulted the beginning of 2020, and then by the time like COVID hit, we were like trapped inside, and I don't really know what were like the ingredients that went into making me who I or like everything, because I feel like we needed to reach a certain level before we were ready to make a podcast. Like,
yeah, for sure. I think, well, I mean, everyone in their early lifetime is trying to find a purpose, and I don't think that we realized that that's what we were trying to do until we realized that's what we were trying to do, and then once we figured that out, and the podcast, that idea sort of fell in our lap, we were like, oh, okay, because everything that happened around making the podcast was very synchronistic, obviously, as it always is when you know, you're on the
Finding
right
your
track.
purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, there was no denying that things had to unfold the way they did. Because I remember you talking about wanting to create content, and I've always wanted to create content too, but I don't think either of us were ready to, like, branch out on our own.
No.
And right now, we're both doing that, and the podcast, we're making our own content. We don't have separate YouTube channels, but we have separate TikToks and separate Instagrams that we're trying to grow and stuff like that, which is insane to think about. Like, at the beginning of all of this, in the start of 2020, we were like, I don't know.
Yeah, I never would have been comfortable enough. Like, my idea, like, way before we even started the podcast, I remember when I first started, like, getting into, like, journaling and scripting, like, I put, like, I wanted to be a YouTuber, and then I was like, well, what kind of content am I gonna make? And I had, like, a couple different ideas, but it was mostly around, like, traveling, but I've always kind of known that I wanted to make content, but I didn't realize that it would be like in largely this kind of content.
Yeah. And
like, because I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it.
Yeah, no, and I think that podcasts have really accelerated over the past a little while too. So, like, having a podcast seemed like such a daunting and intimidating thing, and making YouTube videos seems so, like, inaccessible, but I mean, over the course of the past year, we've kind of figured it out a little bit. We're definitely nowhere near perfect or even fully equipped for what we're doing, but we're trucking along. So, I don't know, that's more than very many people out there are doing. So,
well, I think that we are ready to move on to the next chapter, because the first chapter, which was largely in part like us mentally preparing ourselves for what we're capable of, and I think it was like a huge time of, like, growth and, like, self-discovery, because I didn't even know, like, what I wanted out of life before COVID hit. And now I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I'm, like, can be clear on my intentions, and, like, I have goals and ambitions now, instead of, like, because I always knew I wanted more, and I knew that I wasn't satisfied, or, like, I had, like, a thirst for more out of life, but I didn't know how I was going to get there, or how I could, like, create a life that was fulfilling for me, because I just didn't think it was possible. But now I know that it's more than possible, as long as you believe in yourself, even though that sounds really corny, but
that is literally the basis of it. I mean, like, I think a lot of the learning that we had to do was sort of being comfortable with our insecurities, because if you're not, and you start to put yourself out there, like, you're gonna crumble so hard, because people are very, very cruel.
The internet, I don't think that overall, I think it's
people face to face.
No, because you would never see, like, the way, you can't post anything without someone leaving their opinion, but you don't get people's opinions in your face like that in the real world. Like, it's just because it takes 2 seconds. People don't even fully think what they're saying through. Like, I've had people, like, the TikToks that I've had that blew up, like the one about the owl. Like, do you know how many people, like, said the same friggin' thing about, you can't touch baby owls and the mom will reject it. And I'm like,
that's not
I put
true.
it in the TikTok. I put it in red letters. The mother will not, I don't know how I worded it.
Yeah, that's an old wives' tale, basically.
Yes, and so many people, and then other people were commenting saying, like, did you even finish watching the TikTok before you commented?
Well, I've had a TikTok go, that one got 5 million, this one had like 400k, and it's the same thing where, like, everyone was commenting about my makeup, and I literally at the end of this TikTok was like, and before you say anything, this is what my makeup looks like, and I think that's too much. And everyone, the first thing they said is, well, you have orange eyeshadow on, so I'm like, man, I'm in on the joke. That's why I said, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, but it doesn't matter, because as soon as you trigger, like, someone on the internet, it's so much easier to just leave a comment. That's why I don't leave negative comments anymore, or, like, you know what I mean? I'm very selective with what I comment, but, like, I just, there's, what's the point of putting
if you
your
don't
energy
have
into
nothing
that?
nice to say, then don't say nothing at all. And it actually, I fully embrace that now.
TikTok is really bad for it too. Like, I love going in comments because I find the comments funnier than the TikTok, like 99% of the time. I'll be laughing off of the comments, but it's just so crazy because I can predict on every TikTok what the complaint is going to be because I
Me
like,
too, yeah.
And I'll always find the comment and I'm like, man, why do you have to interpret it like that? Like, I don't understand why we can't just like...
It's so funny though how you're predicting what people are going to say because it's like you were thinking it but someone said it. It's not necessarily that you actually think
believe that way,
but it's funny that those thoughts will cross your mind and then other people will already be in the comment section like commenting it. It's not like I would ever take the time to point it out, but you can almost look at it from that judgmental eye and say like, oh, I guarantee
someone's going to say this about this. Well, if you go through anything, you can criticize it off of something, and that's the issue, right? Is that you're putting yourself out there into the abyss. So,
well, just like assholes, everybody's got an opinion. Is that how you say it? Everybody's got an opinion, just like assholes. Yeah. Okay.
Does everyone have an asshole? Is that an appropriate conversation for right now?
Sorry if we're not being inclusive. If you don't have an asshole, I apologize.
That's exactly what the comment on
don't
TikTok
don't come after me.
Like, actually, not everybody has an asshole, and that's not really a sustainable statement to make.
Yeah. So. Before we get going into the next segment or continue on, we should take a word from our sponsor.
All right, and we're back. So we were kind of discussing how we're going to continue this conversation. I want to continue it with a question. What do you think the next chapter for us is? This is like a first time I've ever asked her, and this is a
you didn't prep me on the interview.
I know, I'm so sorry.
I guess I think that our next chapter is going to consist of more like action oriented physical growth. Whereas the first chapter was all very internal. Like, we're only on podcast 19, right? And like, we have been doing the podcast for over a year now.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, there was like a huge gaps of time within the last year and a half or so that we weren't recording, but that was because there was so much other internal mental type of growth that we individually had to go through, like more or less relating to our confidence and like becoming comfortable with putting ourselves out there, becoming comfortable with being consistent, prioritizing, narrowing down on what we want to do in life and with the podcast. And now that I think that we've kind of grown internally, we're ready to kind of take the next step and invest in our future. And like, I think we are going to hopefully purchase some better equipment. Like, I want to get a MacBook and a camera, and I want to get some nice mics eventually. And I think that, like, I guess like our next step is going to be leveling up and kind of taking it a little bit more seriously, I guess.
Yeah, becoming more professional with our setup and that sort of thing, I mean, I'm proud of us for getting to a point of consistency. I think that was, like, really necessary for us to sort of bite the bullet and be like, okay, like, this is how we're going to try and approach it this time, and we're really going to hold ourselves accountable. And I think self-accountability was a big part of, like, the last chapter. In all aspects of both of our lives, because I think we are so like quick to let ourselves down because of our self-limiting beliefs. So then throwing in someone else helped that a lot, because there were times where like you wouldn't feel like recording, or I wouldn't feel like recording, and like we wouldn't be hard on each other, but for whatever reason we're giving ourselves like 3 times the shit we'd ever give anyone. So
exactly.
I think that that was like really quintessential for us getting here. Our next chapter, I think I see similar to what you do, just getting into a routine more so. I'm not thinking so much as of like the equipment and stuff, but more so our content, like having a better direction with what we're going to do for a YouTube video every week, working up to having a setup where we can sit down and do something visual every week as well, refining and really getting more into the marketing side of things, because that is something that I struggle with even in my personal business, because
Agreed.
it is just like, to me, the marketing part is really where you're putting yourself out there. I guess sitting here and talking, we do like reveal a lot about ourselves and get very candid and brutally honest, but I think I've perfected that at this point, the oversharing part.
I just do that on the regular.
Yeah, so, but I think, that's what I see for us anyway.
Yeah, education, I guess, is probably another big theme, because although we have learned a lot in the last year, like, I am shocked with how much goes into marketing and even, like, the actual production of the podcast and everything like that. Like, we have somewhat of a base knowledge, like way more than the beginning. Remember when we started?
Yes.
Like,
I
I feel like I kind of get what we need to do now.
Yeah.
And I'd like to kind of educate myself more on the whole, like, podcasting as a whole, digital marketing, and as well as, like, stuff with, like, film or, like, videography, that type of stuff. So I think that it's going to be the era of education and consistency, I guess, or, like, learning how to become consistent and building a system, like a reliable system, because we've proven now that we can be consistent and we're ready to be consistent, but now we just have to perfect our system so we're not doing more work than what we need to do, or
for sure,
so on and so forth.
Over exerting ourselves. It'd be nice to have, like, an editor, or, like, I don't know, like, almost like a third party to sort of give us some feedback, just because
a mentor would be awesome.
Even someone who's, like, similar to us, where they've done a lot of self taught and, like, are ready for the next step, like, and making a commitment. But I mean, also, I think we're fully capable of doing stuff ourselves at the same time. But
yeah, but I find where I'm getting overwhelmed, like, with how many things I could be doing. And I think that is just a theme no matter what. Not like, take the podcast away, just in general, I always feel like I could be doing more than what I'm doing.
Yes,
like, at any given moment, I feel like what I'm doing is not enough, but that comes down to, I don't know, it's like a part of it is rooted in, like, worthiness, because you think that
nothing you do is good
enough, but at the same time, there's, like, the other end of the spectrum where you can always push yourself a little bit further and, like, perfect or put more energy into what you're trying to do. Like, you always can do more, like, I guess. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like you can either look at it like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or...
I think that I would really like to start, like, reading more, because I think part of what's going on is that, because it's, like, a digital thing we're doing, there's a programming in us that is, like, very dopamine based, and, like, we need to be desensitized to what we're doing a little bit, because we've been doing it so long. Does that make any sense? Like, with TikTok, we'll see, like, little blow ups, you know what I mean, here and there, but it's like the consistency is not there, because we don't get that dopamine hit every time, so it's just not, I don't know,
like, it's not rewarding enough, so it doesn't seem like it's worth it to do it.
Exactly. And we're making mountains into molehills out of all these small things that if we were just doing them consistently, it wouldn't matter. Like, and that's something that I see myself doing with, again, my personal side projects. So it's like a matter of just balancing everything, which is,
well, it's hard when I really struggle with consistency for, like, a multitude of reasons, and I a big factor is, like, I don't want to feel like I have to do something, and I know that that's a mindset, and it's like, it's a bad habit of telling myself I have to do this, when it's like, well, no, you don't really have to do it, you're just not seeing the bigger picture. This is something that you want to do because it's going to help you in the long run, but like you said, it's not rewarding enough in
the
itself.
moment. Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard to see the bigger picture when you're not feeling like your actions are being rewarded. But that's why you have to like try to do something because you enjoy doing it.
Exactly.
And not because you want the reward.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think it's like a self-discipline versus self-care sort of, or not self-care, but I don't know, but I think it does come down to self-discipline a lot. Like, that's something that we're both working on. I think that's something that everyone works on. Because if you don't have self-discipline, then you'll look other places for it, and that's how you end up in dead-end jobs, and you know what I mean, and purposeless, and...
Well, it's hard to self-regulate, and especially, like, I think our issue before was we didn't have any sort of, like, structure at all. We knew nothing about marketing. Like, there was just, like, it's like shooting an arrow or a dart in the dark. Like, we were just kind of, like...
doing stuff.
We're trying, but we don't have an actual, like, goal or any sort of direction in what we're doing. We were just like, okay, this is what... Like, we should be, like, with the Instagram in the beginning. Like, think of, like, we were just randomly posting here and there, but now, like, I would like to post... For every podcast, post 3 Instagram posts and, like, 3 TikToks and 3 Reels. Because we can use, like, the TikToks on Reel or whatever. But at least there's some sort of, like, structure to follow now. And we're not just, like, derp, 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 derp. Like, because that was frustrating to me. And that's why I think I would just give up. Because I'm like, what the fuck? Why are we doing this? Or, like, why... Is it going to even benefit me in the long run, or am I wasting my time? Because that's another thing that I think about all the time. Is this a waste of time, or I feel like things are a waste of time?
Yeah. I don't think anything that we've done is a waste of time. Obviously, I feel like you probably just feel more that way in the moment when you're struggling with
and you
whatever
just don't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like making a TikTok or whatever, because definitely been there too. But
it's all a learning process, and if you look at the bigger picture, like hindsight 2020, there's all of these, like, trial and errors were essential for our growth. And even every time, like, say you pick up TikTok and try to make a TikTok, you're getting better and better as you go on. Like, your content quality is improving.
Yeah.
The more that you practice, and same with the more that we do the podcast, or the more that we try to market on social media, like, it's not pointless. It's practice. Not. Even if it's not getting views or, like, it's not... What's the word? Like, we're not getting new viewers off of it, or it's not blowing up. Like, it doesn't mean that it's all for nothing. It's just, like, that you have to, sadly, like, you can't go from being a newbie to being an expert. You have to ride the waves and kind of...
put in the groundwork first.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta make sure the thing that you're doing is worth it, because, like, I picked up so many projects and put them down again, but the ones that I've picked up in the past year and a half I've stuck to. I don't know if that's because we've been unemployed or if that's because I'm on the right track, but I mean, I have faith that it's definitely because we're on the right track.
And and even when you don't, like, you can really take anything and turn it into a lesson learned. Like, it doesn't have to be a waste of time unless that's how you classify it in your brain. Because, like, you can even learn something off of, like, watching a movie if you...
Put the, conscientious effort into it. Absolutely. And especially with content creation, it's like I'll kick myself for watching content, but that's also, you're learning off everything. Like, it sticks in your psyche, the structure of TikToks, what audio to use at a certain context. You know what I mean?
I think that's why it's important to always try to put intention into everything you do instead of, because it's more satisfying, or, like, I don't know what the word that I'm trying to look for is, but, like, you feel like it's what you are doing has a purpose, and it's not just wasting your time, I guess, when you have an intention, and, I don't know.
I guess the way you can look at life is everything is meaningful or everything is meaningless, and, I mean, I've gone
through life. It's all depending on how you decide
perceive it. Yeah, exactly. I've gone through life thinking everything is meaningless and like being cynical and exactly. And I think a lot of people who think that way think they're or sorry, I shouldn't say that. The way I thought I was when I was being like that is it was self-preservation, or that I was outsmarting the system by being pessimistic, but that's not the case. It's really you're just outsmarting yourself, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's not even like outsmarting anything. It's just like I get what you're saying. Like, you think that you have it more figured out.
Yes, exactly.
That's how I felt too. By even being really self-critical. Like, I felt like I was 2 steps ahead of anybody that could even criticize me. But really, all you're doing is like
shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Like, you're filling your mind space up with a negative outlook, or like you're seeing the world through a negative lens, because that's what you're fueling into your brain, and you're kind of in that negative feedback loop, which is creating like a pessimistic monster.
Yeah, and then your life will sort of follow suit as the way your brain works, and it's just not going to be a fun time, speaking from experience.
Yeah, like literally I went my whole life like that, and I still struggle with it like all of the time, but I can catch myself when I'm in it more. Like, I know when I'm being negative and pessimistic, but I think that I'm just very sensitive to being out of alignment. Like, as soon as I'm not in alignment, I
feel miserable.
Yeah,
that's when gratitude obviously comes in, because I feel like it's almost like throwing a fit, like a childish fit, when I get into these moods where it's like, nothing is satisfying to me, nothing is good enough, I'm so miserable, I can't stand any aspect of my life, it doesn't matter what I do next, it's not going to make me feel the way I want to feel anyway, like...
Yeah, I get like that, like, very frequently, too. It's, like, scary how much those feelings come up, and, like, how much effort I have to put into bringing them down again, because, like, I find that when I think like that, like...
But do you think it's because that has accelerated, or do you think it's because you notice it and you're so much more alarmed by it because you are so clear on what the other side is like?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's probably where, at this point, why it frustrates you so much, because
I'm comparing my life now to how I might have felt before, and I know that I have felt better before, and I've went longer periods without feeling existential or pessimistic, and it's like, I guess it's frustrating to me because there's a terminology that they use in therapy, like it's a cognitive like dysfunction, but it's something that people commonly do is like compare
themselves to their like previous self.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of like accepting or like I don't know, it's harmful to do that, because like you have to kind of accept the state that you're in like as it is, and not try to fuel the fire with, well, you were happier before, like what's so different? Because like you're kind of opening that door to that negative downward spiral by trying to analyze it. And I think that there is I don't think that is like across the board, like you can't ever go back in time and I'm kind of messing up.
Can't ever recreate.
Because if you aren't happy and you knew that you were happier
before,
you can obviously analyze, well, what's different in my life now? But if you can't really figure that out, this is just me speaking from experience.
It's getting lost in the details as opposed to just accepting as it is. I think that, like, maybe it's more broad than what we realize, because I recently realized that being out of my comfort zone is basically the only thing that gives me any sort of feeling of life anymore.
Yeah, me too.
Like, the feeling of comfort makes me want to implode, I guess. Yeah. Like, it's just, like, disgusting.
It's boring.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. The only time that I feel alive is when I'm, like... pushed outside of my comfort zone, or like I was just thinking about that like recently. Remember when we first moved in together, and like I was just living with this guy that I barely knew, and like it's because I had to live there. And then I realized like Hannah needed a roommate, and she was living like way far away from where we worked together at the time, and I was like, fuck it, like let's move in together. But in that time frame, like, everything was so, like, chaotic, but I loved it. Like,
That's
my
how
life
my
was
life
chaos.
was on the carnival, man. Literally, like, I had no cell phone. I had no contact with anyone I knew. I don't know if you have any idea what the characters are like on the carnival, but I was living with a bunch of fucking strangers.
Yeah, that probably been to jail.
Yeah, I started dating someone that I didn't know barely anything about, and then moved in with them in a place that I had never visited. But, I mean, when I think back to that was some of the best
memories.
I miss it immensely because I was so far out of my comfort zone that I guess you just don't have any choice but to be present when you're that far out of your comfort zone, and maybe that's what is the issue, is that we're just so, I don't know.
It's, well,
jaded.
We were just talking about, like, how we're at the point where we feel like life is monotonous and boring because we've been doing the same thing for so long, and it feels like every day blends into one another, and the only time that I really feel alive is when we're doing the podcast or when we're recording. Like, as soon as we get done recording, I'm, like, on a high, and then I'm, like, in the mood to, like, do more
content creation.
Yes, or anything in that realm, and that's kind of the only time that I'm getting that true dopamine hit. And, like, it is good when I go out on, like, I love still going outside and going on adventures, and I'm very thankful for all those experiences that I'm experiencing.
Yes.
But they feel so far and few between. Like, the days in between of doing nothing, I'm like, my life is so fucking boring. Oh my god, things are never gonna get better. Like, but is this what life's about? And I kind of go into that, like
self-pity mode.
Yeah, or pessimistic, but, like, I don't know, I think that's why I do want so much more out of life, and I know that I don't want to live in the same small town. Like, I have a fucking unquenchable thirst, it feels, for exhilaration, and I'm not getting it right now. And, like, it's almost like the reason why I've been feeling very pessimistic in the last couple months, because I feel like I was a way happier overall in the winter and in the fall. Like, I don't know, like, I guess in the fall I was kind of going through it, and then I really peaked. And, like, I don't know what was making me feel so good at that point in time, but, like, I was fucking feeling amazing, even though it's shitty outside. I mean, I was still doing a lot of shit outside, but, like, you think that when you're cooped up in the winter, that's typically when you're going through seasonal depression and stuff like that. And we were
so excited, I feel, about this summer, too, because it's our second, like, and we knew that at the end of the summer that we're probably going to have to go back to somewhat of a real life.
Yeah,
and things were going to go back to
hitting that way
normal.
for me. Like, I feel so, like, this summer, like, I don't want to be negative about it. I'm still very thankful for, like, I have done a lot of fun things. Like, I just got back from fucking Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I've been doing fun stuff. Yeah. But, like, overall, it's, like, my baseline is, like, wanting more. Yeah. And I know that, like, it's something that I need to deal with internally, but I also feel like my soul is just like, no, we're ready. Yeah. It's time to, like, take the next, like, open up the next chapter. And
I definitely feel the same way, because, like, I am a 2-year type of gal. Every 2 years I need, like, a big change. That's just the way I was programmed as a kid, because we moved every 2 years. And we've hit that mark. We hit that mark a few months ago. Yeah. We might have even hit that mark a fucking year ago, and I'm ready for something to change. Yeah. Like, exactly. I would love to move or anything.
I know. I want to move really bad too, or, like, I want to do a work where I want something so fresh. Yes. And new and exhilarating, and like, I don't know. I think at this point I'm more than ready. Like, there's sometimes where I question, like, if I have the right personality to do something crazy, like go move to another country and do a work away. Like, if I would do well because of, like, just my anxiety or, like, me getting into these, like, negative funks. Like, I'm like when I'm feeling shitty, I, like, sometimes will sit there and think about, like, well, if I lived in a van, like, I would be just feeling shitty in a van. But I also think that maybe there wouldn't be enough time for me to sit there and think about how shitty I feel because of what my day-to-day life is going to look like. There's not going to be time. Like, there's a lot of more, like physical shit that goes into living in a van,
Oh,
or
God,
like
yeah.
doing a work away where you're like cutting fruit, or like it's just a whole other type of environment where the selves that we are right now are not going to be the selves that we're going to be in a different environment. And I think that I'm ready to shed this version of myself that I'm so scared that is not going to work out in the I don't want to say the real world, like on the next, I'm kind of like fucking up my whole sentence structure here, but like, I don't think that these issues that I'm worried about that are going to hold me back are going to hold me back, because they're not going to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same person that is tackling them, obviously.
Yeah, and that's why I think maybe it's so uncomfortable being still stuck in this environment, because we're ready for more. Like, we've kind of proven that to ourselves, and...
Definitely. I mean, 6 months from now, we will listen to this, and we'll be laughing, because we'll probably be those versions of myself that are of ourselves. Sorry, that's the only comfort, is like... we don't have it figured out now, because it's better than what we could have imagined. That's why we never had the idea for the podcast until it was time, because, I mean, what the fuck were we going to talk about in 2019? Let's be honest with each other. Like, what would we have had a podcast about?
Yeah, exactly.
Serving. You know what I mean? Like, complaining about our work stories.
Drinking, partying. Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, certain experiences need to unfold before we are ready to take the next step, and I guess that's just the baseline of how growth works, and how manifestations come to you, and why they take time is because there's so many unseen elements that need to
fall into place
and like work itself out before we're ready to, you know.
I don't know, before we're ready to accelerate, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right?
Blossom,
that's a good word.
Yeah, I don't know, but I really hope that
it's on the horizon.
Yeah, I can feel that it's on the horizon. It's not that I hope, like, I know that there is more coming to us. There's more blessings.
I think the closer that you get to an event, the more impatient you get. And I'm impatient as fuck right now, so that's a good sign, right? 'Cause I think that is like something that we should take comfort in, is that obviously we feel this way because something
we're anticipating something more, but I guess we don't really even know like what the more is, so to speak. Like, there's a lot of different things that we could do. We just haven't really made up our mind on. Well, it's like the timeline is still very ambiguous. Like, we don't really know what needs to happen first and when it's going to happen, but that's kind of like what all the spiritual gurus like tell you not to get caught up in, is like, don't focus on the how, focus on the why, and have faith that what you want will come to you.
I've been telling myself that I have my dream job now. That's like my big manifestation / like fixation right now, because I think that a lot of our setbacks right now are financially, which is frustrating.
That's another reason why we're ready to take the next step. It's like, okay, I can't be, I don't know, I don't want to get a job that I'm miserable in, but I think at this point I'm ready to make some sacrifices for
your future and the greater good of what we want to do.
Because the way that I had it all planned out in my head was like, by the time that all like COVID and everything ended, we would have something off the ground, or like we're making money online somehow, but at least we're kind of in the beginning stages of like seeing how that's possible. Maybe we're not ready, like we can't exactly, like, we're not making money right now.
No.
But it's, I don't know, at least it's on the horizon, and I can see how it's possible, as where, like, before, when I was really stressed out and, like, worried about, like, the whole when we have to go back to reality phase, like, I didn't think that I would feel this comfortable with it right now, but I'm kind of accepting it, because I know that it's a necessary part of our journey to get to where we need to go. Like, we're not going to get we need money for the equipment, and unfortunately we're not making enough money off of the podcast or other endeavors to invest into our future, so we're gonna have to sadly step back into the matrix and play the little rat race game again, but at least we have like our wits about us this time, and I don't think that it's gonna be what is it called, like, as
all-encompassing and soul-crushing.
Exactly. Yeah, soul-crushing as it was before.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely, I don't know.
I know. I think that being more conscious going into work will be fun, hopefully. That's my prediction.
Your intention.
Yeah, exactly.
To have fun and to learn other necessary skills or meet the right people, because you never know what sort of like opportunities are out there beyond our little comfort zone, which is inside of our house.
I know, which our comfort zone right now is real small.
Yeah,
like,
and no wonder why we're so displeased with our day-to-day life is because, like we just said, we're very much living in our comfort zone. I mean, the only time that we're pushing ourselves outside of it is when we're doing stuff for the podcast, and that's why we feel so like
I guess
high
that's
on
true,
life. But it's just because what we picture for ourselves, like we already want to be making money creating content.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that's not happening right now. So, oh my god, I keep losing my train of thought. I feel like this podcast is a little bit fucking derpy derp.
All over the place.
But we're tired, but you know what?
Yeah.
Today would have been a day that me and you would have been like, no, let's just wait. Like, let's just do it tomorrow. No, we're like, no, fuck it. We're still doing it today. So, if you've made it this far,
congratulations, you're a serious fan of us. You must like our voices or something. Because nothing that we said was... No, I'm just kidding. I think a lot of the stuff that we said, hopefully there's people out there who are going to be encouraged and inspired to step outside their comfort zones, because if you're living in your comfort zone, you ain't living at all, baby.
Exactly. Like, literally, I kind of just came to that conclusion now, like, from what we just said right there. Like, that, I think a reason why we're feeling so displeased is just because we are so much ready to kind of get back out there, and we need to at least... I think the issue is that the only way we want to be working is if it's on our own terms and doing like what we wanted to do, and we had our visions, our sights set on things happening a certain way. Like I was just saying, like it's when the world went back to normal, I was hoping that I would not have to go back and get a normal job because all of XYZ is already figured out and we're already where we need to be.
Yeah, we're already making YouTube revenue and looking at our next endeavor in a different country. And, or we already had our vans purchased in the driveway. And
that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, as soon as fucking COVID's all over, like I'm gonna have a van, this and that, and like it kind of felt not right. It kind of felt like I was lying to myself a little bit. Yeah. But I think it's because I knew deep down that I would have to. Unfortunately, there's other things that still need to happen before we're ready to take the next step.
I mean, who knows, man? We might go into another lockdown too with the Delta.
Oh, don't say that.
But that's like the reality of it at this point. Like, we do think that we're going back to normal life, but what is normal life, and like what is life? Because the economy in Canada and the way things are right now in North America, especially, things are at like a boiling point. And I don't know, there's got to be big changes in the future in order for our way of life to be anywhere near sustainable. And like the planet is getting absolutely fucking wrecked by our consumerism. And it's just like, not
people
good.
Are really waking up everywhere. Like we're approaching a point of revolutionary change.
Yes.
And I don't doubt that. I thought that COVID would be the tipping point where shit was going to pop off and we were going to basically put our middle fingers up to the elite and say we're not doing this shit anymore. But unfortunately, that's not the way that things unfolded. So we're going to have to suck it up for a little bit longer. Get in there, get our bread, and invest in things that are in alignment with our future, like equipment and like courses and things that are actually like investing in ourselves and investing in our future and our idea for the future. I don't think that going back to work means
It's not a death sentence.
No, because we have an actual long-term goal now, and we have, I don't know, we have little checkpoints that we want to reach within that time. Like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like, oh, well, all my life's just all about go to work, come home, drink on the weekend, go to work, come home, drink on the weekend. It doesn't have to be like that, because there is
a light at the end of the tunnel now.
Yeah.
Even if it is blurry and we're not really sure what is on the other side.
And I'm not going to take work so seriously anymore. Like, I'm not going to be that ass kisser, scared of my boss. Like, you need me more than I need you, because you need people to run your business.
Yeah.
Or you need people to contribute to your business, or you won't have a business. And the way that it's structured now is that we're all so desperate and brainwashed into thinking that we need these jobs, but if we all said fuck you and didn't go to work, what would happen?
Yeah, literally. No one would be able to sustain their business.
Exactly. The power is in the people, but we are just so blindsided and brainwashed to realize that. And like, I'm still gonna have that attitude. Like, yeah, I'm a good worker. I'm a good employee. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna break my back to satisfy you, because you don't give a shit about me. I can, like, you will just replace me if I leave, unfortunately.
That is literally what it comes down to.
Like, if we could get everybody to kind of, like, gang up together and be like, no, well, that's kind of like what unions, like, why unions are a thing, but even within the union, there's so much political bullshit, and, like, it's, a lot of the times unions are kind of, not for the people, but, like,
they end up
harmful.
Cropped. Oh
yeah.
My word.
Crapped.
Yeah.
Just shite.
Yeah, exactly.
Pure garbage.
That's right.
That's why it's like, I would like to have a servers union. I think that would be kind of beneficial, because of, like, just the environment. I think that it's very, like, cutthroat. Like, you will look like you're a shitty server because you don't want to stay and work overtime, and you don't want to come in short notice, and you don't want to take these extra
Servers
shifts. Like,
get so
I don't
abused,
like working.
man.
I don't even care. Like, this is me just coming out because I feel like awkward saying this, because people look at you like you have two heads. I don't like working. Working is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
The only reason that I'm doing it is for the money. And like, that's what everybody really is out here trying to get, is money, unless you have a career that you're passionate about, hence why we want to do shit like make content and have a podcast.
Yeah.
But like, I don't like breaking my back.
You know what? There was a point where I was a little bit passionate about the service industry and like whatever, but I mean, also passions change, and that should be okay too. You know what I mean? Like, I think there is a point in time where it's necessary to have, not like a low-end job, but like, I think it's necessary.
It adds character.
Yeah, exactly. You need to experience all sorts of things in life, and that is it's important. It teaches you a lot.
Oh my God,
it taught us that we don't want to be
skills.
Yeah, and it taught us to stand up for ourselves. We wouldn't have the fucking backbones that we do today if we didn't get shit on.
Yeah,
our past work experience.
Oh, 100%. And that, I guess that does go back to like when we're ready to step back into the working world, and we now have like, we're more self-aware and we're more in tuned, or like, I don't know what I'm trying to get at here. I keep fucking losing
more
my
conscientious, I
yes,
think, going
exactly.
into it.
Like, I think that we're going to gain much more from our working experience, because like we're looking for more, and
it's not our end all be all. Like, I think that was like a part of it too, is like when you're in the restaurant industry, yeah, sure, you can move up like by moving restaurants, but we were always going to be in the restaurant industry if that's what we did, and obviously that's not where we felt that's not where we feel we need to be in the long run. I mean, I would definitely serve overseas, and like, you know what I mean? It's not like I don't like working, but it's not like I'm completely going to stick my nose up to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, and when I say it, I don't like working, like, I love being productive, and I love, like, even when I do work for, like, my friend Andrew, I love doing that because it's so new and it's not long term. I guess, like, when I say I don't like working, I don't like the idea of
being locked into something for years and years and years.
This time around, it doesn't. I'm just going to have not the intention, but, like, I'm going to keep reminding myself that this is
just a step.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, there's still more to life than this, because I feel like it's so easy to get sucked into, like, that cycle of, like, I don't know, like, work becoming the majority of your life and taking that home with you at the end of the day, because in the surveying industry, you get shit on a lot, and you're basically someone's bitch. You're getting paid to be someone's bitch all day, every day, and it can kind of fuck up your, like, your mental confidence.
And like, I don't think that, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like there's great customers and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people who are not, I don't know, for some reason, when someone is getting paid to do something, there's a lot of people who are like, well, you're getting paid to do it anyway, so I can treat you however I want. But
the
it's
customer's
like,
always right is, like a ploy to, well, it's not even like a ploy. I don't know why the fuck, like, or where that started. I guess it's because it's the lack of respect for employees.
Yeah, a mentality.
Because the customer's always right.
That's definitely changed. I think that, like, millennials sort of started to like realize that they don't have to be treated that way, and now Gen Z is like, we're definitely not going to be treated that way. And the next generation is just going to be even more woke. I hate that word. But woke to the fact that they have more power than what employers would like to let on.
Yeah, I guess it's really feeling powerless. And I think it's easy to feel powerless when you're working in the customer service industry at all, because of the way that customers treat you, and then the way that your boss or your manager reinforces their bad behavior. And
powerless is a good word for it.
Like, you have, like, breadcrumbs of, man, I'm fucking, my cognitive level is just, like,
the words are not flowing.
No, not at all. I think that there are breadcrumbs of appreciation, I guess, or, like, gratification that you get working with the public.
Yes,
but overall, like, I feel
it's thankless, and
like, you feel like your time isn't being valued, and you feel like it's not worth your time, or maybe it's making you feel worthless, or like, this is the best that I can do. And I think that that's something that it's a mindset to easily fall victim to, unfortunately, when you are working too much and you're not taking care of, like, your mental health, or, like, you're not staying on top of your self-care. I guess.
Letting your job run you, kind of thing. Yeah, it's easy to do, for sure. I mean, it was easy to do anyway in the mind state that I was, but I do have faith that this time around will be
I'm going to be way more confident, and I think I am so much more confident than what I used to be, and I think that's going to shine through no matter what job that I get. I'm not going to let people walk all over me. I'm not going to feel guilty or feel like I'm not, I feel like a lot of the times I always feel like I'm not good enough, and, like, that is just a theme that will obviously unfold in every aspect of my life, but it really strikes a nerve with me when I'm working, because I don't know, I guess it's maybe just the environment and the people pleaser in me. Like, I just feel like I don't know, maybe I don't fit in or something, or like I'm not a good employee because I see people like, oh yeah, I'll take this person's shift, and I'll take that person's shift, and of course I'll stay late, and like I'll come in early, and I'm like, I don't want to be doing that, and it makes me feel like a shitty employee.
Well, you know why? It's better to be a shitty employee than to be shitty to yourself, right? Like, I would rather be the employee who doesn't take on the extra time and has time for themselves than be the employee that is taking on all that extra time and then complaining about it. Because that's who I was. Exiting, and it's just about being
comfortable. Like, comfortable with who you are and saying, no, you know what? I'm not the type of person that's going to fucking
work 6 days a week and stay in overtime but not get paid for it, and all the other fucking absolute tomfoolery that I personally have gone through in customer service and in the workforce in general. It's like abuse, literally.
Yeah, and, like, the workplace is not a place to test your worthiness, I guess.
No, yeah.
Because you can never really come out on top working for somebody else. Like, the only type of gratification you're going to get is either moving up, like, ranks. So, like, maybe you're going to get promoted, or, like, you get, like, a pat on the back, or whatever. And, like, there's employee of the month in certain workplaces.
And incentives and whatever. For
but
sure.
overall, I feel like you're never going to feel satisfied.
And you're responsible for that self-worth too. So it's like, if you are seeking that out in your workplace, even if they have great incentives, you're going to end up empty eventually, babe. Like, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, because that is not... I don't feel like anyone's in their true authenticity or in true alignment. Like, true alignment. It could be a part of your path, but I feel like there's that feeling of dissatisfaction because it's not your true calling, and like, you're not getting that gratification that you're looking for, or you're maybe not feeling good enough because it's not rewarding enough for you, because it's not truly what's meant for you. I don't think anyone's supposed to be fucking a cashier or serving for years on end. Like, any of these little jobs, I do think that they build character.
They're can learn tons of jobs to me. Like, I feel like from maybe 16 to like early 20s, yeah, sure, be in those jobs, be learning, because you know what, you can support yourself, you can put yourself through school doing a lot of those things, you do build a lot of character, there is so much to learn.
You learn a lot.
There's benefits at some of these workplaces, like 100% it's not a loss.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to say it's meaningless completely, and I'm not trying to offend anybody that might be listening. Like,
yeah, and society does have to exist with some sort of employment model, you know what I mean? Like, even small businesses hire people, and that's totally fine because it can be sustainable. But right now, capitalism is just running rampant, so I don't know.
People are getting stuck at these jobs far longer than what they should be, and we don't have the freedom to express our creativity because we don't have time. Like, a lot of people don't have time to sit there and come up with
40 hours a week is too much in a week. Too much in a week.
Too much sauce.
I will argue for anyone. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, you can work wherever the fuck you want, but you should not be working 40 hours a week. I am so sorry. And doctors and nurses working over that? What?
No wonder why there's like a horrible fucking bedside manner.
Yeah, and, because these people are fucking worked to the bone and like are barely
they're desensitized.
Yeah.
Like, they really, man, 99.9% of the experiences I have with doctors are in the hospital are awful, like very bad. Like, our healthcare system here is complete and utter shit. Every time you go in there, you're made to feel like your problem is not worth their time. They don't listen to you. Oh my god, it is so bad. If you have any sort of hunch about what's wrong with you, they're like, no, this person's a fucking
idiot.
An idiot. They don't know, like, they think that you have no sort of
self-regulation.
Yes, or like you don't know your own body at all, or like they're offended if you Google stuff. Well, I'm fucking sick at home and it'll take weeks before I can even come see you. What do you expect me to do? Just twiddle my thumbs? Like, if there's something wrong with me.
And you have how many other patients in a day that you have to see, and how many other ailments that you have to memorize yourself. So you're welcome that I did some pre-research for you, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. Sorry, the dog's barking in the background just kind of distracted us there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
On that note, life is shit, and everything's going up in flames.
No. Just joking.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously not.
Man, this podcast has been all over the place today. Holy
I know, and it's long as hell. Like, we have some nerve.
Yeah, we're just rambling. We're, like, going on about, like, no, life's gonna get better, I can feel it. And then we're like, wait, no.
I know, we just ended on doctors are all overworked and our medical system is shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That being said, like, it's time for
a revolution.
Everywhere. The changes need to happen. And I think, like, internally, changes are happening. I'm
that's where it has
ready
to start.
to bring my knowledge in and out to the real world.
Yeah.
Step back into the matrix, but with a better head on my shoulders and not fall
More
victim
well
to the
equipped.
shit that I did before.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. And on that note, should we end it?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's pretty long.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening, guys. Make sure you check out our side projects so we don't have to go back to work.
Yeah. I mean, and if you want to support us in any way, you can do so by checking out our... What is it? Like, I guess, our beacons.
Yes.
I don't even know if people would, like, know what that is.
We have, it's like a link tree that we have. It's on our TikTok and our Instagram. All of our projects and stuff are on there.
Yeah.
Definitely subscribe. Make sure that you have notifications on for everywhere so you don't miss anything, because we are being more consistent now.
Yeah.
And, on that note,
yeah.
see you later.
Bye-bye.